Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. So it looks like Kabam has finally done it. Kabam has genuinely made the game issues so present and unbearable that community is calling for boycott, or more specifically in some of these instances just effectively saying they are boycotting. They're not necessarily encouraging everybody to completely stop spending, but they are explaining that they, as players and content creators, are stopping the spend, and their reasons for doing so. And they're not forcing anybody, or they're not trying to brute force people in complying, but effectively I completely agree with them. And I'm making this video, number one, to show and express my complete support of the idea, because things are, unfortunately, at a point where they should have never gotten to. And that is one of the frustrating things here. These are not difficult things Kabam had to do to avoid a situation like this. I think in nearly 2 years, updating a game mode's rewards is not too much to ask. I think doing a few test runs of a new game mode raids map that they're doing is not much to ask. But there's an amalgamation of unbearable amount of errors and bugs, as well a completely tone deaf attitude towards the players. Like this Battlegrounds post. Yeah, they made a post before. We heard you were working on an update, but now new season is starting. The rewards are not updated. There's not even anything special a little bit sprinkled in. At the bare minimum, Kabam could have brought back those enhanced event milestones that they used to have for like the Battlegrounds 1-year anniversary celebration or something, so people get some extra resources. That would be such a bare minimum thing to do. And them explaining, we're enhancing the milestones in Battlegrounds solo and alliance event for this one season whilst we're working on a proper rewards update. That's all they had to do. They already had the milestones. They could have just chugged them in the game before the season starts, and that would have kept players satisfied on knowing that this season we get this, and next season there's going to be a proper rewards update. They didn't even do that, but instead they messed with the Battleground scoring, which is a huge deal. And there is so much uncertainty around this, because they're saying here, for this season we tweaked scoring to award more points for those who can take down the opponents the fastest. It also means that getting hit in the face doesn't matter as much, just as long as you can nuke something. So it makes Battlegrounds significantly less skill-based. And the funny thing is, this is the scoring we went away from because people didn't like it. And nobody really complained about this new scoring that we had, where fight duration gives you 10k points instead of 15k points. Now again, on personal level, I think whether it was 10 or 12.5k points, it could be debatable, but it had to be less than Defender HP remaining, for sure. But either way, nobody really wanted this. So Kabam again has spent time doing something nobody wants and nobody likes, and avoiding doing bare minimum to keep players satisfied. And that is like a general theme with Kabam. For example, the impact this has. A lot of defenders are significantly less valuable now. For instance, somebody like Atuma. Atuma can be taken down quickly with just about any champion, but you will suffer some health loss. Now, because of the change to the scoring, Atuma as a champion is significantly less valuable. And you might say, yeah, it's just like the one champion or something like that. But for instance, people have rank 3 and rank 4 that champion, specifically for the fact that he's good at Battlegrounds Defender. Changing the scoring immediately makes him worse. Just like people have, for instance, avoided ranking up champions that do take chip damage but are fast. This entirely messes with people's rank up choices, and it wasn't needed at all. But now, again, many of your rank 3s will be worse, some of them will be better, or most specifically, most of your rank 3s will be worse because you kind of rank them up with the knowledge of the scoring system, and you avoided champions who didn't benefit from it, and now it's just juggled up. And why? Nobody knows. Just literally nobody knows why Kabam did that. What for? Nobody asked for it. And Battlegrounds is obviously just one issue in the game. This, I feel like, has been the breaking point, but it's just one problem of the game. If you want to find some more problems of the game, we can take a look at the new Alliance Quest season. Is there even a post for the Alliance Quest season? I don't think there is, but the point is, new Alliance Quest season just came. Season 12 Alliance Quest. Awesome. We got the Nightmare Raids. That was a disaster, effectively. And mainly it was a disaster because nobody tested it. Even though players in the previous weeks warned Kabam that it doesn't appear that Korg has been altered, nobody listened or cared. But my personal biggest issue is we just got a new Alliance for season, but we don't have a Glory Store update. We don't have a rewards update for Alliance Quest. Alliance Quests are like 2 generations outdated in terms of what catalysts you can earn. You don't even earn tier 4 alpha catalysts in Alliance Quests, only in Alliance World Raids. Why? And we are still forced to play it in order to get the raids tickets. And that, yet again, is another unfortunate theme of Kabam. They're forcing us to play a bunch of bad content in order to play content that's, rewarding in a better sense. Same thing with Paragauntlet and Monthly Event Quest. Monthly Event Quest is outdated by like 3 generations right now. And we're still forced to play it in order to access Paragauntlet. That's already also outdated. Why force us to play shitty content that's severely outdated just so we can play content that's slightly less outdated? And again, I know that Kabam is doing something. In May, we're going to get a Valiant EQ test run. But my question is, why not do the bare minimum and stop forcing us to play Thronebreaker EQ to be able to access Paragauntlet? It's such an easy thing. Just remove that key requirement. And that's it. Or give that key to every Valiant in mail or something. And that's it. But no. We have to play crappy content so we can play something less crappy. Same with AQ. Why we have to play AQ when Kabam hasn't updated the AQ rewards in such a long time? But we do it so we can get the raid tickets, so we can play Alliance Nightmare Raids, which again was quite a big disaster upon the release. There are so many depressing things. And to be clear, I want this game to do well. I want this to be the best game it possibly can. But it doesn't seem like Kabam wants to. And there are going to be many arguments saying like it looks like Kabam is stretched too thin. And maybe they are, but I can't give them sympathy for it because Kabam has used the profits of this game to generate and create shitty games that have long since went bankrupt. They have used the profits of MCOC to make Disney Mirrorverse. They made that Realm of Champions that went bust. They used Transformers. All of these crappy games have been funded largely by MCOC. Instead, they could have had easy the opportunity to hire more people and they wouldn't be a stretch. And second of all, a lot of this is self-inflicted. We have so many outdated things in the game that Kabam could cut and change. And I could be spitballing ideas that not everybody would like, but for instance, you don't need to have incursions, battlegrounds, and arenas, for instance. If Kabam hasn't updated arenas in years again, and people are using it pretty much only to get units, well, mainly, you can just add those units and battle chips and stuff like that to either incursions and update rewards properly in incursions, and maybe include a way to get new champions from incursions. Or, why do we need monthly event quest and side events? That could easily be combined. There's just so much outdated fluff in a game. So, still, that Kabam effectively can't manage it. They are definitely incapable of managing it. And the game has grown big. And that's part of the problem here, because the game has grown so big and you can do so many things, but very few of them are actually worth doing. Like, currently in the game, you pretty much are forced to play Alliance Wars and Raids. And that's it. Because those are the two places where there are rewards. And obviously the new endgame monthly quests, which, by the way, I like. But if that means that all the other game modes get neglected, it's just not worth it. And let's face it, like, whether people like to admit it or not, currently the game itself revolves around battlegrounds. Kabam should be cradling battlegrounds with tweaks, updates, changes, trying to make battlegrounds as perfect as it can be. And they haven't done anything meaningful with battlegrounds at all. The only thing that they have done with battlegrounds since they released them is effectively make them more tedious, because we used to have 4 metas a season, and there was an inherent issue when 3 of the metas didn't really matter. Only the final one did, because that decided your placement. But it was still hell of a lot more fun to play through 4 metas rather than 1 or 2 for the entire month. Because you get tired of them. It gets more tedious. It gets more boring. But Kabam did it so they could do less work, so they didn't have to come up with enough metas. So, needless to say, I could go on and on and on. But I kind of want to distill it in the essence of the current issues. And it's not one single thing. Again, I do sincerely believe that the battlegrounds is the core of it, and it's the straw that broke the final one. But Kabam has burned so many opportunities to do better by doing the bare minimum, or by doing nothing at all, or by just having this snot nose full of themselves attitude towards the player base. The fact that they have started advertising 18 sales events on Kabam live streams. The fact that there are 18 sales events in any given month. On top of, majority of the game being outdated. It's kind of sad to see. And the ironic thing is, I do think Kabam are doing a lot of good things with the game. And I do want to talk more about them. And I do try to make positive, happy videos whenever I can. I do think that creating saga incursions is cool. And I wish Kabam had updated the rewards for saga incursions, because I genuinely look forward to the opportunity to play through that saga incursions every 3 months. But it doesn't mean that regular incursions have to be as shit and completely outdated. Now, at this point, both saga and regular incursions need updates. I still love playing battlegrounds. I enjoy it. It's just absolutely not worth it. Every time I sit in front of battlegrounds throughout the season and I stream battlegrounds, I know I could be doing something more useful in the game. Because I could play for 2 hours and I could be down 50 points, I could be up 50 points, but effectively barely will affect anything. And whether I place at top of C5 or in C6 or Mysterium 1, there's basically no difference in meaningful amount of rewards. No difference that a $20 offer couldn't overcome or something. So it just makes most of the game feel hollow and shallow when you see that the rewards that you fight for an entire month effectively can be bought by $10 or $20. And again, there are many good things that we like and enjoy. A lot of newer champions have become more solid. I like a lot of champion designs recently. I think, whoever's designing champions, they are doing better job than they used to. Some of the new buffs and tweaks. I love playing Medusa again. I never saw that happening. Many of the new endgame content quests, I enjoy them. And, I have been completely open about it. I think, Grandmaster's Gauntlet's amazing. The Ordeal is amazing. Effectively, the CCP Karina's challenges, I like them a lot. The Epoch of Pain, still enjoyed it. Ares, hated it at the beginning. When I fought Ares the 3rd, 4th, 5th time, liked it. So I think the design of Ares is actually quite good, even though I think Kabam introduced him in the wrong way. And I wish we were able to focus on that and celebrate the good things in this game and be happy and enjoy it. But we can't. When half of the game's fighting mechanics are broken. AI's been shit for years now. There's no reason AI should be as bad as it is. Still. There's no reason we should have issue with medium intercepts just not working. There's no reason AI should be able to light intercept us left, right, and center. And besides AI, champion bugs are well out of order. Champions are released bugged and then fixed maybe a year later. I think balancing program is useless. There are so many good things, but they are just currently getting overshadowed by incompetence, ignorance, and greed. Kabam will be perfect in their record when it comes to releasing orders on time and orders not being bugged and players getting immediately compensated there's something wrong with the orders. Sorry, offers, not orders. But, you know, the game mode goes to the crapper. Nightmare raids are a literal nightmare. They give out 7 revives and tell people to go suffer more. I'm like, nah, we're not canceling it. They're perfectly fine. They're meant to be difficult. If we fix some bugs, be happy. Take 7 revives, go back in. You know. Oh, you want Balgon's rewards buffed? Well, you get a new emote. But instead of buffing the rewards, they're just gonna just scoring that. They're gonna screw with everybody and everybody's decks. We are launching a new Alliance Quest season with the new raids, but we're not updating Alliance Quest rewards. They are completely outdated. There's just so much. But I think the worst of it is the lack of urgency. At all. People are warning them about issues that, you know, Korg is going to be bugged in the raids because his SIG hasn't been adjusted. They just don't give a shit. They don't fix it. It goes live and then it becomes an issue. People are warning them about, you know, abandoning game and battlegrounds and so on and so forth. They don't care up until everything reaches the breaking point. The only thing Kabam is proactive at this point in the game is just releasing offers on time. And yeah, there is so much more we could talk about. But the point is quite clear. More and more people are fed up. And it is extremely sad to see long-time friends just taking a step back or disappearing completely. So many names I miss in my live streams now just because they, you know, can't deal with Kabam right now. And again, the worst part of it is, much of it isn't hard. A lot of it is just releasing some rewards updates more timely. Taking these issues more seriously. If there are 15 biggest content creators creating videos about how battlegrounds are crap, they feel bad, the rewards are completely outdated, Kabam needs to do something, you know, it needs to happen not half a year down the line, not like 5 months down the line. It needs to happen fast, and players need to have the feeling that Kabam cares and they are doing something. Not several seasons later. When we are complaining about event quest being completely outdated for like a year or two, it shouldn't be the case. It should never get to 2 years of, you know, it should, you shouldn't get to Valiant level difficulty, and we are at a point when the new title is coming and we have Thronebreaker EQ. Bullshit. These lead times are just unacceptable of them updating their own game. That's the biggest issue in the game right now. They're just not updating their own game modes at remotely acceptable timelines. Arena's completely outdated. Event quest, completely outdated. Battlegrounds rewards, completely outdated. Alliance quest rewards, rather than Alliance raids, completely outdated. Incursions rewards, completely outdated. Saga incursions, already outdated. It's like, it genuinely feels like a game that's a rundown, like a rundown property where nothing gets fixed. You know, all the door handles are broken, where tiles are broken, and you know, you need to paint everything, and you need to just do a major renovations on the house. MCOC feels like rundown house, like a rundown property. And Kabam feels like a very shitty landlord. Because they're ignoring players' concerns. They're not responding in a remotely timely fashion. And it generally feels that, like, you know, as long as it isn't collapsing, and as long as the tenants haven't moved out, everything's fine. When the roof will cave in and, you know, it's going to be completely destroyed, then we're going to fix the roof. Rather than upkeeping. Rather than updating the battlegrounds rewards every 3 months. Rather than, you know, having the set idea that if there's a new title coming, there should be a new difficulty level for the event quest. Those should be like very basic concepts of the game progression. And no, it doesn't mean that 8 stars will come immediately. You know, for instance, if Battlegrounds rewards got updated properly like half a year ago, and there was significant amount of tier 4 alpha in there, it wouldn't mean that 8 stars come any quicker than they otherwise would. The only difference would be then, instead of me having 45 rank 3 7 stars, I would have 55 rank 3 7 stars. And that's nothing in the grand scheme of game economy. Because there are people who pay money and they have 140 rank 3 7 stars. And that's fine, they paid for it. But there's no reason to gatekeep those rewards so much. Because now we're chasing the rank 4s. There's also very little reason not to increase the shard amounts. Because that's natural progression where the most biggest accounts will acquire vast majority of the 7 stars anyways. And they're going to be hunting for the few champions they're missing. It's just what happened with 6 stars. It doesn't mean that 8 stars have to come any more quick. But ultimately, here we are. So let me know what you guys think. But, you know, I wholeheartedly support people who are stopping their spending. I also will either completely stop doing Battleground streams or significantly reduce the amount and stream something else. For the main reason that until Kabam actually does something about game mode, I do not want to put it out there in front of people's eyes as much as I have been in past. Anyways, let me know what you think, what you're suggesting, and I'm gonna catch you guys soon. Bye-bye. Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about